Have you ever wondered how a woman, born into the heart of cultural limitations, can reach for the stars? From the time she was a little girl, Kalpana Chawla looked at the night sky with wonder, while other children in her neighborhood played traditional games or helped their mothers with household chores. Kalpana had different dreams too vast for the small town of Karnal, India. At night, when the world around her slept, she would stand by the window, gazing at the stars. She imagined herself soaring beyond the clouds, touching the unknown, and becoming part of the vast universe that stretched far beyond what her eyes could see. But in a society where a woman's destiny was often decided for her before she could even find her own voice, dreaming of space was seen as nothing more than a fantasy. Her father, Banarasi Lal Chawla, was a man of traditional values. He believed that a good daughter should follow the path laid out for her: school, marriage, and a life dedicated to home and family. He had worked hard to provide for his family, and he wanted his daughter to have a comfortable, secure life. "Why do you spend so much time looking at the stars?" he once asked her. "Because one day, I want to be among them," she replied without hesitation. Her father sighed. A girl should keep her feet on the ground, not her head in the clouds. But Kalpana refused to lower her gaze. She was not willing to accept the limits imposed on her. When it came time to choose her university major, her relatives and teachers assumed she would pursue something considered appropriate for a girl, perhaps literature, teaching, or social sciences. Even the thought of her studying engineering raised eyebrows. "Girls don't belong in this field," one of her professors said with a doubtful shake of his head. "Then make room for me," Kalpana responded without hesitation. She became the first woman to study aerospace engineering at Punjab Engineering College. Every day was a battle, against the skeptical stares of male classmates, the whispers questioning why a girl was there, and the occasional patronizing comment from professors. Some said she was wasting her time, that no one would take a female engineer seriously. But Kalpana was not there to be taken seriously by others. She was there to chase her dream. Her father still believed she would change her mind. Maybe after a few years, she would realize that engineering was too demanding. Maybe she would get married and settle down like other women. But Kalpana had already set her sights on something even bigger. She wanted to study in America. When she received her acceptance letter and visa for graduate studies in the U.S., her father sat in silence for a long time. An Indian girl alone in America? Her mother finally voiced their shared concern. Kalpana smiled. "I'm not just an Indian girl. I'm a dreamer." With that, she packed her bags and took the first step toward the future she had always envisioned. America was a land of opportunity, but it was also a place where she faced new challenges. She was far from home, in a country where she had to prove herself once again, not just as an immigrant, but as a woman in a male-dominated field. At her university, she could count the number of female aerospace engineering students on one hand. Many times, she was the only woman in the room, but she refused to let loneliness or doubt slow her down. She worked tirelessly, earning her PhD in aerospace engineering and securing a place at NASA, something no one from her hometown could have ever imagined. When the news of her acceptance into NASA's astronaut training program was announced, Indian newspapers wrote in amazement, "An Indian girl has become a NASA astronaut." She smiled at the headlines. They still defined her by her gender, by her nationality. But in her mind, she was simply an explorer, a scientist, a dreamer who had refused to give up. Her journey to space was not just about breaking barriers. It was about proving that dreams, no matter how impossible they may seem, can become reality. In 1997, Kalpana became the first woman of Indian descent to travel to space. As she floated in zero gravity, she pressed her hands against the shuttle's window and looked down at Earth. From that high above, the divisions and barriers of human society, the rules that told women where they could and could not go, seemed so small, so insignificant. All the time she had been told that she couldn't, that she shouldn't, that she mustn't. It all felt distant now. She had proven that a girl from a small town in India could reach beyond the sky. Her return to Earth turned her into an icon. She was no longer just a scientist or an astronaut. She was an inspiration. Girls in India and all over the world saw themselves in her. Schools invited her to speak, and her words encouraged countless young minds to believe that they, too, could achieve the impossible. Yet Kalpana did not stop there. She was preparing for her next mission. In 2003, she boarded Columbia for what was meant to be another successful mission. She had trained for this moment, worked for it, dreamed of it. She had always known the risks of space travel, but fear had never been part of her vocabulary. Then, disaster struck. As the shuttle re-entered Earth's atmosphere, it disintegrated. The world lost Kalpana Chawla in an instant, but her story did not end with her death. Her name remained, etched in history books, spoken in classrooms, and written on the walls of schools and institutions dedicated to the next generation of explorers. Her journey had paved the way for other women, for other dreamers, to believe that they too could reach beyond what society told them was possible. Even today, every girl who dares to dream of the stars knows that a woman before her defied the odds and proved that limitations exist only in the mind. Kalpana Chawla was not just an astronaut. She was not just an Indian woman. She was proof that courage, determination, and relentless pursuit of dreams could break every barrier. She showed the world that being a woman is not an obstacle. It is a strength.